Hi, how are you doing? I'm great. Hi, y'all. All right, so I thought I would jump into it because yesterday I came across this clip from Myleik Teal, who I'm obsessed with. Myleik. I think she's such a great and genuine human. I met her years ago, and I just think that she is goals. Like, besides the two kids, because Kimberly don't want no kids, I just feel like the way that she lives her life so fully is really, really inspiring. And she posted this clip on her Instagram about how, like, she is intentional about creating a life filled with peace and contentment. And I so relate to that. And something that comes up, first of all, I do not give people advice. Like, I go out of my way not to give people advice, except for on very, very specific things, because I feel like, is my life replicable? I don't know. Maybe it is. But all I can really do is talk about how I live my life and the choices that I make. And so one thing that people ask me all the time is about self-care. What do you do for self-care? How do you take care of yourself? And I'm going to be honest, I a little bit resent how that has become the default question that people ask Black women, particularly in conversations about career and passion. Like, I actually think it's a little bit unproductive, but maybe we can get into that a little bit later. But when people ask me the self-care question, I've always had difficulty answering it. And I, make things up. Oh, I watch TV. I like reality. I hang out with my nieces. But those are fake answers. The truth is, I don't have a real answer. I don't do self-care because at this point, my entire life is self-care. I get up and do exactly what I want to do every single day. Like, I create a joyous, sometimes lazy, passion-filled, content life every single day. So I am trying to relay to people that it's taken me a lot, right? And like, I've been really intentional about, for the past 11 years that I have been doing for Harriet, been really intentional about brick by brick, trying to build stuff in my life and build, pathways so that I don't have to live a life where, oh my God, the weekend's almost over, or I can't wait till the next vacation, even though I am excited for my next vacation because I'll be fully vaccinated. But, there's no dread. And so a couple people have DM'd me like, how do you get to that place? How do you get to that place? And it's like, I can tell you what I did, but, and I know, take a shot, a lot of it is privilege. A lot of it is luck. But also, yes, I have worked really hard. I have. Because I can also say that I know and am really good friends with many Black women who are similarly privileged and probably more privileged, and they don't live similar kinds of life. But I decided when I was 20 and I was going to go all in on For Harriet that this was it. And I was going to see it through no matter what. And that eventually, if I just held on, that I would get to this place. I took that bet. And that was the right bet. Like, I can talk all the time about how I have always been obsessed with the internet. I had this idea. I started working on it. Everybody knows the story about how I got kicked. Well, I didn't get kicked out. I was politely asked to take a leave of absence from Harvard College. I went home, started working on For Harriet. I was on the computer all day trying to figure this shit out. All the time, my mom would say, all the time, she would say, what's this gonna do for you? Being on the computer all day is not gonna do anything for you, Kimberly. Like, so what's the plan? And I didn't say shit back to her because, like, but I knew in my mind, like, you don't see it. I see it. So I just held on. And even when there's the media landscape changes, right? The way that people consume information changes. It's gone from blogs to podcasts to videos. I said, well, we'll just make the shift, right? There was a period a couple years ago where I didn't have no money, where I was literally asking my mom for $200 to pay the cable bill. And she was like, my cousin went back to school to be an architect, and he was, posting, and obviously we're so proud of him, but, she'd be like, you could always go back to school. And it's like, girl, no, this is it. This is it. Like, I'm all in. And so I guess, a part of that fortitude thing is, do you have the fortitude to, when everybody in your life is like, oh, like, what are you doing? I can tell you so many stories about the years where my friends graduated from college. Everybody knows I graduated 2 years late, and then they're getting great jobs, or they're going to grad school, or, and we're out, right? And like, people ask, like, what are you doing? And what are you working on? And how's work? And I'm there like, well, I run this website, and it's like so embarrassing. Or even more recently, where people are asking, my incredibly talented and successful, one of my friends just, I don't know if I can say this, but she just, she's about to be an assistant professor, right? Like at a medical school, one of my college roommates, right? And they like look so impressive. And, we're at the party or we're at the function and everybody's going around, and I'm like, so I make these videos, and they're like, and people are trying to be nice about it, they're trying to like, that's great, like, yeah. But they're like, oh, like Kimberly's fucking up her life. Like, and in trying to explain that to aunts and uncles and people at your church, and you're like, well, I've been, have you ever heard of YouTube? I made this blog. So like, if you can just hold on through that period, the embarrassing period, then now people frankly look at me like, what the fuck? How are you doing that? I held on. And by the way, right, I'm not rich. I don't look at my bank accounts. I go where I want. I buy what I want. But I'm not rich. I'm not buying Birkins. You know what I'm saying? But you don't have to be rich to be comfortable. I don't worry about money. In my mind, you're not rich if you don't have $10 million because of, the fact that there's no social safety net. Not only do I not have that, but I don't even have a deep desire to acquire that. I don't even have a deep desire to put in the work to have $10 million in the bank. Because this life, a comfortable life where I live in a nice one-bedroom, well, I technically have 2 apartments right now, but hopefully in the next 60 days, I will no longer have 2 apartments. If you want to know why I have 2 apartments, go on the For Harriet channel. I talked about it over there. But if I can just maintain this life where it's like you get up, you work when you want, you say no to what you don't want to do. I don't have to do stuff just to get checks. That's a good life. That's a good life. Yeah. You got to hold on. I'm sure it gets tiring. That's what it is for you. Oh, people are asking questions. You know what's funny? People see success as being rich and having careers, right? And that's the other thing, right? So Oh, and this is the other thing I wanted to say. I live a life filled with pleasure and leisure and ease, right? I outsource the stuff that I don't want to do. I work when I want to work. I say yes when I want to say yes, say no when I want to say no, only work with people that I want to fuck with. But it takes a minute to get there. So when people do, particularly teenagers and 20-somethings, ask me like, how do you get to this place? And I'm like, but I sacrificed a lot in my 20s. I sacrificed a lot in my 20s. There are so many parties I didn't go to, birthday parties, retirement parties, vacations. I skipped a family reunion because I was obsessed with work. But the thing is, I was obsessed with work because I love work. I had the vision. I knew it was going to work out. Now, a part of the stuff working out is luck. Like we have to acknowledge luck is a thing. But there was never a doubt in my mind that it wasn't going to pay off. And so I am in my 30s. I'm a grown-ass person. I'm 32. So Kimberly at 24, 25, 26 wasn't living a life of ease. She was hard. It was hard. And I gave up a lot. I was extremely focused. And the other thing is, I had one boyfriend in my 20s. I know that there's like this back and forth debate about, does being partnered, does it help you or does it hurt you? I will say it definitely helped me to not be focusing on chasing after niggas in my 20s. It definitely freed up a lot of time. How did you find the courage to follow your heart as a broke person? Capitalism is kicking my ass right now. Is it courage? There was no other options for me. From the time I thought of For Harriet, there was no other option. So when people would come to me like, don't you want to go to grad school? Don't you want to get an MBA? Don't you want to get a PhD? Don't you want to take this job? It just was never an option. But also, here's another thing. Not that I'm giving advice, I'm just telling what I did. I moved back to Oklahoma after I graduated from college because the cost of living was so low. Because most of my family lives in Oklahoma, so I knew that I was never going to be homeless. But also, when I moved into that apartment in Oklahoma, it was $600 a month. It was nothing. I was like, I can make $600 a month, right? And so when people are always like, why don't you should move, and why don't you, and aren't you sacrificing things because you live in Oklahoma? You live in Oklahoma? Don't you, wouldn't it be better for you to live in New York or LA or Atlanta? No, it wasn't better. Living in Oklahoma, where the bills were low, where my expenses were low, where I knew that if worse came to worse, that I could move in with one of my aunts or uncles, or if worse really came to worse, my mom, that gave me so much wiggle room to try new shit, to try and fail, to go broke, to literally at one point have to shut down the For Harriet website because I did not have money. Obviously, that's not an option for everybody, but this idea that you can only create an amazing career if you move to the coast, it's just not true. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to look at the comments. What made you start a YouTube channel? Sorry, somebody was like, why do you smile and laugh so much? I don't know. I just am a giggly, happy person. I don't know. I don't know. You know what it was? My nieces are 8 now. And when they were like 2 or 3, they started getting really into YouTube because, you know, we just let the kids get on screens now. And look, I don't have kids, so I can't be judgmental about y'all letting the kids get on screens. But they were really into watching these videos, and I would see what they were looking at, these adults making content for kids. And I'm like, who are these people? And I remember Googling, like, who are these people and what are they doing? And then I was like, oh, these people are making a lot of money. So at that point, I believe I was already kind of making short videos and just putting them on Facebook. Like, I didn't really care about YouTube. But it was really going deep into what my nieces were watching and the people who are making content for kids and then the people who are making other kinds of content, where I was like, oh, this is the future. Oh, I need to... And even before that, people would tell me, and I think even if my leak said, you're good at this. Like, you should, she didn't say make videos, but she was like, you should be on TV. I think we had a conversation. And I was like, I'm never going to move to where you have to move to make TV, but I can do this. Yes, I completely get that. I'm so grateful that my mom is there if I ever need her to be there. I'll never be ashamed of living with family. Yeah. And I did, you know, when I first moved back to Oklahoma City, I did live with my aunt for 6 months. And that was, oh, she was wonderful, right? And, you know, but it's, you know, it's hard when you're grown and you feel like you're grown and you have to live with an authority figure and you have to like answer to them and like they tell you to clean up your room. Like, that was hard because I also graduated from college late. So I was like 24 moving into 25 and I was like living with her and like we were like roommates. But anyways, I'll be my niece's roommate one day, maybe. Oh, what was the other thing I wanted to say? Oh, you know, the other thing I want to say is I work when I want to and I only do work when I want to, but I do still work. You know, I do still have to work. Again, I am not rich, so I do have to make sure that this gets posted or that stuff on the main channel gets posted or stuff for the Patreon. Like, I do still do, I have next week a couple of college lectures to do. You know, like it's not easy street, but I don't, that overachiever demon that I had literally from the time that I was 5 until I was like 30, 31, it does not dictate my life. So I still have the overachiever demon where it's like, is it enough? It's not enough. I have to do more. Oh my God, she's doing this. She's doing that. She's doing this. I still have that. But now I can control it better. It does not run my life in the way that it used to run my life because it doesn't have to run my life anymore. So now I am still competitive. I do still want to win. I do still want to be the best and make the best stuff. I want every video to be better than the last video. But I am not waking up every day like, oh, I have to keep up. I have to catch up. I have to do more. I don't do that. I don't do that. You know, I do feel like I have something to say, you know, I want to make sure that I hurry up and get what I have to say out because I have something to say. But it's not about like, I got to make more money. I have to be here. I have to be there. It's just not that anymore. And I remember I was in a Clubhouse room with Sahil, who founded Gumroad, and Naval, who is like an influencer, and Ben Thompson, who writes the Stratechery podcast. the Stratechery newsletter, which is like one of my favorites. And they were talking about how important it is to tinker and to play. And how when you see people, particularly who've been successful in doing like media stuff or technology stuff, that the foundation of that is just tinkering, changing little stuff, trying new things, playing around. And I absolutely do think that that is the foundation of how I make this work. I love to do this. I love digital media. I love to try new things. I saw, to shout people out who I think are doing interesting things. I was just on my YouTube like page and I saw that Raven Elise, I feel like I've shouted her out before, but I think she's like, her YouTube, the way that she manages her content is so A1. And that she posts little like GIFs from old videos to get people to go back to old videos. I'm like, I want to try that. Like when I see people trying different merch stuff, I want to try that. Try different live streaming stuff. I want to, like, it's exciting to me. It's so fun, It's like I'm having this conversation tomorrow about Lil Nas X. I'm excited. It's just, and I also think it's not just the willingness to play and tinker and try new things, but it's also, I can do work all the time and lay in bed all day and be working and not have it be a big deal because it's so fun for me. It's exciting. Is your goal now just to maintain this comfortable lifestyle you have since you don't want to be a multimillionaire? Yes. My goal is to maintain comfort. Just throwing it out there, not moving, but moving to a different country for a few years while growing your business is also a way to save a lot of money. I'm in Bosnia and my rent for my 3-bedroom apartment is $100. I'm 24 and in grad school. I was supposed to move out of my parents' house last year, but because of COVID, I had to stay. It's so freaking hard, but this is teaching me to be okay and grateful to depend. Yeah. How do your friends who took a conventional route to success respond to your own success? I talk all the time about how I stand friendship. I stand my friends. I stand friendship. I will go up for them. Like, I'm trying to like get them to come on my vacations, this summer, and I will pay because they were always so supportive. They were always so supportive. When my mom was like, you went to Harvard to do this? When I would tell my friends about, okay, you guys, I think this is what I want to do, and I think this is how it's going to be, and they would always be like, that's a great idea. Totally. Yeah, you should do that. And now they're still so supportive. I've had a couple of my friends do For Harriet content with me, either on Instagram or YouTube or on the Patreon. So like, even though I know that people outside of our circle were like, oh, they were always, at least to me, and that's the only thing that matters. Maybe they had a separate group chat where they were like, I'm worried about Kim. But to me, they were always like, this is gonna work. So proud of you. Always. And another consideration, taxes, y'all. Oh, taxes are fucking horrible. Oh, don't even get me fucking started on the taxes shit. Now, this is actually some real advice that I can give y'all. This is the only actual real advice that I can give. Man, one way that I really fucked myself over for years was by being cheap about accounting. By getting a cheap accountant or trying to do my taxes myself, fucked me over so bad. And recently I decided to invest a lot of money in much better accounting. And Ashley, who used to be my assistant, but now is the project coordinator. Like, she helps me manage all of the invoices and stuff and follow money and stuff. My business got a tax refund this year. What? How is that possible? You know, it was to the point where I emailed my accountant like, the U.S. Department of Treasury sent my business this check, and I'm concerned. And he was like, actually, let me go ahead and shout him out because he asked me to shout him out. It's Jaden Doy. Okay, I sent him an email last month like, I got this check and it's for a lot of money and I'm concerned. And he was like, that's your money. I was like, oh my, what? So anyways, what I'm trying to say is, do not be cheap. Find the best accountant that you can afford. And my accountant is expensive. It's a lot of money, but it's worth it. You sound like me with the taxes. I need to hire a good CPA because I keep owing money for the little bit of money I make. Yeah. Have you ever experienced imposter syndrome? Sure. I mean, primarily when asking for money, you know, because I have to still do my own negotiations generally. And then that's where it's like, oh. But actually now I don't, right? So now there's an intermediary between me and the money. So I'm not going back and forth with people about money anymore. But when I was doing that, like I did it last year, that's when I was like, oh, are they going to give me this? I'm not sure. I love that you're so happy. Joy is attainable for us. I wish more Black women could experience it. Totally. Yeah. Gosh, you know, what I really struggle with how to navigate this conversation, because I understand that this is not necessarily attainable for everybody because of all of the structural bullshit that Black women have to deal with. But I also want to let people know that it is attainable for some of us, right? Like, I grew up middle class, but like not rich. My parents aren't rich. They just barely became middle class, you know? And the other thing is, you know, just to keep it all the way real, not to be a downer, but one of the reasons why at 32, I am committed to like investing so much in connection and quality time with my family, with my nieces, with my friends. I'm dating again, you know, is because I recognize that I'm not going to wait 10 years to have these experiences, because who knows what's going to happen in life. You know, my father got diagnosed with a very aggressive terminal illness when he was 46, 47. So I understand that I feel great now and I'm really content and happy and joyous, but triumph can turn to tragedy in an instant. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or next week or next year. So while I have a modicum of comfort, while I have the ability to move around, you know, and not worry about money, I'm really going to take advantage of that. I still have to work, you know. There's still deadlines. But I'm not chained. I used to be chained to my computer. I mean, I remember anybody, my cousins know, my aunts and uncles know. Literally, like on Christmas, they would be like, "You're on, what are you doing?" I'd be like, "I'm updating the Facebook page." I don't do that anymore. I just went on vacation. I went to Galveston. I didn't do shit. Like, to a disturbing degree, I didn't do shit. Like, literally, there were contracts that needed to be signed, and I wanted to tell Ashley, like, just sign it for me. Ooh, speaking of, I need to call the tax person today. But yeah. Wow, that just happened to me last year. My dad was 46. No condition, died in his sleep due to natural causes. It does change the way you view life. Absolutely. Absolutely. So the push and pull for me is, okay, we want to save for a rainy day. We want to get the investments together. We want to put things, get life insurance, get the brokerage accounts, get all of that. But also, YOLO. Kimberly not afraid to spend money. I'm probably too comfortable spending money at this point. Having fun, taking time off. Like I said, I'm trying to convince my friends, like, y'all got some vacation days, right? Get the vaccine. Let's go. You know? Don't you want to go to Hawaii? Could you see yourself in the position you're in now if you didn't make the sacrifices you made? No. No. So that's when the 20-something girls, when they come to me asking me about relationships and all this, I'm like, you need to study them books. Study your job, you know, like you need to study your vocation. I mean, that's only if you want this. But I also but I'm a person who doesn't want kids. I don't care about being married. And so, but the other thing is, if you want different stuff, then you're going to have to make different choices. I'm in 25 in grad school and trying to stay focused. Because I will tell you, right? Like, there is freedom. You know, now men are just like a hobby. It's just a hobby. You know what I'm saying? Now, like, for a long time, I was like, I don't want to do this. I'm not interested. Who cares? But now it's just like, talking to men is just like a very dangerous hobby. It's not the center of my life, right? I'm not planning on building anything on top of that. It's like, you want to hang out? Especially now, I'm about to get the second dose of the vaccine, okay? It's about to be some April Fooling. But it's like fun. Right. I had one, yes, this is a good one. I definitely think girls should date around if they like have one good romance in your early 20s, then break up. Let me just say, I fell in love when I was 25. Amazing romance, amazing feeling. I felt the wind blowing through my hair and like the world stopped every time he was in the room and we were just together in love and the universe shifted and all of that. It was a good feeling. It was an important experience to have. I'm glad that I have that experience. And then we broke up and then I got to refocus back on this shit And now I get to be in this place. Okay. It's a drug. Okay, sorry. Back to this. How did you get to this place of just knowing this is what I want to do for the rest of my life? I was obsessed with it. I was obsessed with building it. Every single waking moment, I just wanted to work on it or learn more about how to get better. When I transitioned to making videos, I mean, you know, something that really, okay, it's 12. I have a dentist appointment at 1, so I need to keep the time. Something I think about a lot is how I transitioned to doing videos. I didn't know how to edit. I didn't know anything about editing videos. I didn't know what cameras or lenses or editing software or microphones or levels, audio levels. But I taught myself how to do that. I taught myself how to edit to the rhythms of YouTube. But it was fun. It was never a burden. It was exciting to learn. I was obsessed with it. I started school at 28 after exploring this hemisphere and my identity and still managed to build a good life for myself. Anything is possible. I think, yes, anything is possible. And that's the other thing. Maybe I'll talk about the Tina Turner documentary. But like, that's the other thing is I'm obsessed with Tina Turner. I've always been obsessed with Tina Turner ever since I saw What's Love Got to Do with It when I was 5. Even though I shouldn't have been watching that movie when I was 5, but it was a different time. You know, parents were not, they were not the way that they are now, okay? But I think what's so remarkable about Tina Turner is the best part of her career came when she was in her 40s, right? Like, doing what she wanted to do. And then she met the love of her life when she was in her 50s. Do I have recommendations? I do, but I mean, I don't have time to get into that now. Any tips for being self-employed and having anxiety? I don't know if you had to deal with this at all. I have enormous anxiety. I have ADHD, which I keep going back and forth about whether or not I'm going to get on amphetamines for. But I feel like I'm kind of managing it, but I could probably manage it better. But one thing that I do without actually being on drugs is, you know, pharmaceuticals, is I break things down into the tiniest little pieces. The tiniest pieces. Huge projects are way overwhelming for me. And that's why I had to, as soon as I got the money, to hire an assistant. I hired an assistant. And again, now she's been promoted, so I don't call her my assistant anymore. To help me stay focused. Now she's like the project manager because huge things, that's not me, okay? I'm the big ideas person. I'm not the minutia person. And so, you know, for Patreon, I've been working on. I'm finally going to get it done, you guys, because I finally finished getting the scripts together. This Alan V. Farrow video. And so I really had to do like, okay, we're going to watch episode 1. We're going to take notes. We're going to episode 2, take notes, do the clips, and bit by bit by bit. And then all of those little pieces come together. And something else that I really had to stop doing was I used to, for a minute when I was doing all of those interviews, my calendar would be so full, and it would be full for like 6 weeks of people I was going to talk to and Instagram lives I was going to do and YouTube videos I was going to do. And that was really overwhelming for me. And now I go out of my way to keep a clear calendar. Clear calendar, clear head. Okay. So and now Ashley understands, like, oh, this is gonna be too much for you. So, like, is this gonna be I'm just not somebody who likes to like schedule 6 weeks out, 8 weeks out. I don't like that. I need freedom. I value freedom. I need flexibility. So I just want to do what I want. It's like if I wanted to live a life filled with deadlines and calendars and meetings, I would get a real job. I really had that epiphany last year where it's like, if I wanted to live a life where every single day was blocked out 6 weeks at a time, I would work at McKinsey. I don't want that. Your honesty is inspiring. I always send you love. Thank you so much. What advice do you have for people in their 20s? I mean, I don't have any advice for anybody. Okay, that's it. And that's the other thing when people ask me about school, like, don't you want to go back to school? Don't you want, no. I loved college because I loved being around my friends. I loved being around a supportive, creative community, academic community. Like most of my professors were so supportive and so open till this day. And I love talking about ideas. I love reading books. But those deadlines, kicked my ass. Now I can talk about ideas and read books and hit people up for interesting conversations on my own terms. But also, I will say, that's also probably the ADHD talking. Thank you so much. I also have a ton of ideas, and then due to how large they are, my anxiety goes through the roof. I need to break it down and get an assistant. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You're welcome. I be wanting to drop out, but I'm graduating this year. Yes, I barely graduated. I guess I don't even know what my GPA was, honestly. 3? From college? 3 something, maybe. Because, I had to take some time off because I was failing. So I really don't know what my GPA was. It wasn't good. Now, I am confident that I could get into a great graduate school because I have connections to people, right? But I didn't do great in undergrad. What are your top things you feel like advance your subscription audience base? I have a resting fear that no one will care about my content. I never worried about if other people would care about my content because I care about my content. I make the stuff that I want to make. And what people often say to me is, I did not care. People say this to me all the time. I feel like this is the #1 comment. I do not care about this topic at all. I've never seen this movie. I've never listened to this artist. I've never watched these videos, but I like hearing you talk. Because I'm so passionate and I love to talk and I get so deeply invested in things and I feel like I can convey that excitement. And so to my mind, I feel like if you're good at this, then people will just watch you be good at it. I get my brows now professionally tinted. I was doing it myself, but it wasn't coming out right. Okay. I have so much to say, and I always Should start a YouTube or podcast, but I never do it. Kim, that is the complete truth. You talk about shows I have zero interest in watching, and I watch all of your videos. Like, I don't know what this stuff is, but I be watching anyways. Yeah. So I really think that passion is contagious. Energy is contagious. You know, I watch people talk about all kinds of tech stuff and gadget stuff and just random things. I watched one of those black nerd channels. I don't care about Marvel. I don't care about any of that shit. Okay? But I like this man. Like, I just like him. I'm never spending 1 minute of my life watching that stuff. But I like him. I'm writing a research paper on abolition. Can you suggest somewhere to start? I mean, Ruthie Gilmore. Read Miriam Kaba's new book, We Do This Till We Free Us. There are younger women who are doing great work. Derica Purnell. Yeah. I'm considering making online content, but I'm struggling and narrowing down ideas. Was it hard for you to figure out the kind of content you wanted to produce? Any advice? Was it hard? No. I mean, the advice I give everybody is look at what's working and then figure out how you can infuse what you love to talk about into what's working for other people. Oh, yes, I do have a dentist appointment, but it's only 5 minutes away, so I just need to, like, floss and brush my teeth again, but my dentist is only 5 minutes away. Okay, any other questions before we wrap this up? Were you referencing your My Leaks sentiments on self-care? Yes. And that's the other thing. And you know what I say about like really buckling down in your 20s so that you can flourish in your 30s? I also feel like I got that from My Leak too. I feel like in my 20s, I heard My Leak say that. And which, you know, I'm only 32, so 20s weren't that long ago. But I think that's generally what people do. I even feel like, not to compare myself to Beyonce, nobody's Beyonce, but if you see people like flourishing, there's a reason why. And I guess I've noticed this trend because I'm in my 30s, but it seems like so many women in their 30s are just so like fulfilled and happy and content and carefree and blossoming in their beauty and their sexuality and just living their best lives. Because 20s is really struggle time. Like, it's like carefree, like make silly mistakes, like fuck up time, but it's also struggle time, you know? And then you learn the lessons and then you're able to get free in your 30s. I remember years ago hearing Beyonce say, I'm gonna work really, really hard. And then by the time I'm 30, I think she said she wanted to retire when she was 30, but then she altered that. And now she just like, when she got into her 30s, she just decided to do whatever she wanted to do with Self-Titled and Lemonade and you know what I'm saying? And so I do think that I also, you know, the overachiever demon also comes with the hyperfocus, hyperdiscipline demon. So if I did not have that hyperfocus, hyperdiscipline thing, would I be able to wake up and not do shit for a week? Probably not. Probably not. Like, that's as honest as I can be about it. Probably not. Thoughts on Mal and Rory leaving the Joe Budden podcast? I did not hear about that. I don't keep up with Joe Budden anymore, but that is fascinating. The girls are fighting. is not accessible to every Black woman. Totally. This life is not accessible to every Black woman. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, there's not anything, and that's the reason why I am not saying that the way that I've chosen to live my life is going to be a panacea. It's not going to be the right choices for everybody. If you have financial responsibilities, probably not going to be for you. If you have children, probably not going to be for you. I can only tell you the mores with which I live my life. I can only tell you. Yeah, my supervisor asked me the other day if I was overwhelmed and I was hustling so much. I didn't even think about that. That's the other thing. And that's my other thing. And this is bad advice, right? But this is bad advice. But this is as honest as I can be about it, right? The work-life balance conversation. We need to have an honest talk about the work-life balance conversation. There are certainly things that I regret skipping when I was in my 20s. Certainly. There's one family vacation in particular. When my family went to Disney World that I am so upset that I missed because my nieces were like 2 and they were so cute and I didn't go. I really regret that. But work-life balance. Look, most of the people who are living lives that I envy don't have work-life balance. And I don't even really envy, but like living lives that I feel like are aspirational. So, I was obsessed with it. I worked all the time. I regret skipping one thing. I really regret skipping one thing, but I had to skip all of that other shit. There was no balance. But it didn't matter that there was no balance because I loved it and I believed in it. And also, the other thing was, you know, I mentioned at the start of this year that I was letting go of the thing where I'm just trying to show people wrong. I'm trying to prove you wrong. Because for years, oh, it was 12:21. I got about 10 more minutes of this. For years, my MO was, I'm trying to prove you wrong. I'm going to prove you wrong. You didn't think I was going to make this work, but I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm successful. I'm beautiful. I'm talented, right? And now I don't move in the spirit of I'm going to prove you wrong. It's proven. My life is great. It's proven. So now that frees me up. That frees me up now to like do different stuff, you know, have different energy. Because also that I'm going to prove you wrong energy is real negative. It is, right? It's real, you know, spiteful and vengeful, you know. So I don't really operate like that anymore. Has obsession always been an indicator of the direction you moved in? Passion. Because I've always been afflicted with the overachiever demon, just being passionate about it, just like that fiery, burning passion. Like, I could sit and talk to anybody about the creator economy, digital media, social media, my values, social justice. I could sit and talk about those things, feminism, all day for free. I mean, you know, I did at one point because it's just in me. Oh, also my pop culture stuff, my pop culture obsessions, I could sit and talk about all day. It's hard to sacrifice. Okay. What is the appropriate way to hire you for engagements or consulting? Do you have an agent we should go through? You can send me an email. You can send me an email. You know, what I did, because I don't have a deep desire to do one-on-one consulting, I guess, you know, one thing that I said that I was going to do once a quarter this year and I haven't done is just do like a group thing where people can just ask me questions and I can offer feedback. So if you want to sit down and ask me and we can talk about, because I do love to talk about making content, then we can do that. Maybe I'll set one up. Are you interested in talking about the Tina documentary? I am interested in talking about that, but not today. Okay. All right. It's 12:25. It's time for me to go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I understand that this is not going to be the blueprint. It's barely the blueprint for me. You know, and the other thing is, I don't have all the answers. That's the other thing, right? I am in a space that feels great. Feels great. Feel great. But I'm still making mistakes and learning. I do shit that I shouldn't be doing all the time. You know, a couple of weeks back, or maybe a week or two back, you know, when I was replying to the people from that side of the internet, I look back and I was like, Kim, why did you do that? You know better than to do that. You know better than to engage with those people. Because I'm still figuring my shit out. You know? So all I can do is, you know, bring y'all along for the ride and the journey. That's it. All right. Let's move on. I have to go. I have to get a filling. All right. I will talk to you. Yes, I know it's so embarrassing. I have to get a filling at my big age. But you know, it's because like I've eaten cookies at night. Anyways, bye. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.